Hey everybody. So I came up with another melee build here. I thought I'd play around with the Pulseblade and laser sword instead of the laser slicer. I'm also making it a Wing Zero cosplay here, as you can tell. The build is got some advantages against certain matchups that the slicer was better against, but it's also weaker against other ones that the slicer is strong against. I find it's better against kites, and it's also better against shields just because you have multiple lunges now to keep the number of to prevent the shield from cooling down, because you just have constant attacks coming out that have to keep on parrying. Plus you've got the option, you'll notice here that I'm not running the jab beta missile. Having the ability to exchange your missile for punch stagger extends not only makes your punish stronger, because you can add on 2 or 3 punches if you like before doing the melee punish, but it also is really good for just giving you another way to force shields to parry. So if you use both melee weapons, then Zimmerman, you can switch to a punch and just keep the offense up and overwhelm most shields pretty handedly. Another really interesting thing about this build is the way the two melee attacks work together for the laser sword and the pulse blade. Both have a double hitting attack, so you can do the double light slash with the pulse blade or the charged attack with the laser sword to do a double spin. This means that it can force 2 shield parries per attack. And another really interesting thing is that both weapons have useful mini stunning attacks. So the pulse blade is going to be your offensive melee weapon for lunging at opponents, and then when you need a defensive option for, like, say, reverse joint kicks, anything that's going to rush you down in some sort of way that is not favorable, or if they're really good at kicking, then you can do the charged laser sword to interrupt them at range. So I've underestimated the laser sword a little bit. It is hard to use the charged attack, but you have to be level. You definitely don't want to have height disparity. And you need to make sure you're not using it too close or the tracking becomes an issue. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the build. And if you want me to do a build video on this, going more in depth into the text with it, then you can let me know. Maybe just offering one other thing too, which is, why is this good against kites? So the way the missile reload works is, when it's holstered on the back, it's going to be twice as long. Unlike the jab beta missile, which is a shoulder missile. Honestly, it doesn't even matter though, just because the homing lock time on these hand missiles is under half a second. It still works out to be a faster firing missile than the jab beta when you're running the SLS, and that's assuming you're not even optimizing it by keeping the missile in your hand rather than holstered in order to keep the reload loading fast. So with this build, you can really put a lot more pressure on kites, and if you miss Zimmerman shots, it's not really the end of the world. Because you can always swap to the missile and fire another salvo, which will then either let you get the next Zimmerman pretty easily, or just hit them and keep the impact built up. So the missiles definitely, you are trading off the ability to hit around shields, but because this melee build already has some strengths against shields, we're able to make that compromise. You will want to know too that the laser sword's light slash does not have a mini stun though, but when you can open up with it to break the stagger, that means you get the pulse blade punish. The charged laser sword punish is about the same amount of damage as the pulse blade, but it's less direct hit adjustment. So if they have very tanky builds, you usually want to try to break the stagger with the laser sword whenever possible, so that you can then do your follow-up punish with the pulse blade first, then cancel their armor, and then go into the laser sword again. Which brings up one other really nice advantage, which also helps with kites, but honestly all builds with this, which is that unlike the slicer, which normally gets interrupted before the majority of its damage is done during a punish, you can often slip in the laser sword or the pulse blade before they get the armor to deploy, and then counter with the assault armor, and then do the other melee weapons punish right after. So it's really good for kites. You don't have to worry about that punch stagger extend issue making it difficult to punish. If you stagger them with the pulse blade or the laser blade, you've always got another lunge that you can punish with right away. So it's very easy to follow up your stagger with a lunging punish again. So yeah, you're just able to slip in your punish before the PA deploys in a lot of cases. And even if you're not, you can always punch extend into pulse blade and then try to end with the laser sword in those cases, because they're going to wake up after the pulse blade. But if you then switch, if you stagger extend with the Zimmerman, you can do a charged laser sword. So if they try to rush you while you're out of battery, or try to immediately get offensive once they wake up, they're going to walk right into that double mini stun laser blade, which they should still be in direct hit adjustment even though they'll be able to move, so they're then going to take another massive amount of damage. the classic meta build, PS shield, LRB, Etsugen, looking just a kite and outlast. You could swap the missiles off. I'm going to try keeping the missile Zimmerman. I just want to go full offense here where I have cycles of attacks non-stop, forcing his shield to be overwhelmed. I will be giving up the punch extend, so that means that I need to make sure both melee weapons are off cooldown, and I stagger him with either Zimmerman or the missile so that I can punish, cancel armor into a new punish. You can disregard that. In hindsight, I think you should purge the missiles against shields. You need the punch extend. It's more useful.
There we go. We're doing a good job of keeping that shield overwhelmed. The punch feels a little. The punch feels a little more valuable than the missiles, to be honest. I'm gonna go back to that. I'll do one salvo of missiles and then I'll see what we can do. Hopefully they nerf the PS and buff PA interference stat, because that is still overdue. But until then, we gotta work with what we got.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
All right, we overwhelmed it. Nice. Tough matchup, for sure. Like, this is one of the most meta builds that we're versing, and also one of the least balanced. The shields are... The PS shield, at least, is completely broken. Just, it's too good at everything, unfortunately. There we go. Tough matchup, real tough matchup.
Hey, here we're up against a fragile laser kite with terminal armor, meaning we're going to want to use the assault armor. In a perfect situation, we're going to try to stagger break with the laser blade and do an assault armor punish, and then keep our pulse blade ready to follow up with the chase in case they survive that. But I won't hesitate if I have to use the pulse blade into laser blade either. And I'm going to keep the missiles because we want to have multiple forms of offense, keeping them on the back foot. Main thing here is just like when to use the assault armor and if. Like it's not a problem to never use it in some matchups. Sometimes you just don't have a good place for it. We'll see if we can get him though. The Pulseblade ministun is going to be valuable here. Oh, I did not. I messed up that swap, but that's okay. Could save the assault armor to finish off the last 1k, but I've got two different weapons now. Normally the Zimmerman's good on its own, so I kind of want to use it to just get that big punish in. Got him on the back foot now. He has to come to us. Using these missiles to punish those charged attacks is nice. Honestly, a little laser blade slash will do the trick here. Oh, even a Zimmerman will do the trick, I guess. Just keep dodging. I love this high EN supply. This is awesome. Yeah, you can't dodge the missiles and the Zimmerman for much reliability. And I'll end here just wanting to show you the EN and other stats difference with this build versus the Slicer Javelin option. So you get a big EN boost and a little bit more maneuverability as well. Okay, thanks for watching and hope you guys enjoy this new build. And I guess in a way this was a laser sword build challenge, so it probably belongs in that series as well.